Hey, what's going on, guys? Money Making Joey back here doing another video, and this video is definitely going to be a informative video. I was supposed to make a video like this for some time. I know I've mentioned in previous videos, I apologize, but we're going to make this video for you guys today about rideshare insurance. Now, you would be surprised how many people decide to get into the rideshare industry and they start driving for Uber and Lyft, and they never take the time out to fully understand about the insurance. How does it work, and do you need extra things? So with that being said, there are a lot of drivers out there that don't really have their insurance in order, and we're going to fully break some things down and fully speak about how it works, what you actually need to have, and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to insurance, it's a tough one, and there are going to be certain things that are left up to you because some people might look at things just a tad bit different. Now, when it comes to the insurance that these rideshare companies hold, Uber and Lyft, I don't consider them to even be worth it for them to have, but don't get me wrong, as a businessman, I fully understand why they have them in place. They're fully there to benefit the rider. They do not benefit us as the driver unless you're totaling out your car. Now, as far as their insurance goes, let's talk about your personal insurance. You always, of course, by law, need to be driving with your own personal policy. Now, if you have a car that's paid off, you might be someone that's riding around with what's it called, limited liability. I haven't had that in a while. I've always been driving with full coverage. I do recommend to always do so, just due to the fact that I've mentioned prior, these rideshare companies, their insurance, unless you're totaling out your car, it's actually not going to be worth it. You get a little ding on your bumper, it's not worth it to pay the $2,500 deductible that they have. Yes, $2,500. Now, excuse me. When you have your personal policy, I know that they have, like this gap insurance and things like that. You could actually put that on there for rideshare, and to be honest with you guys, I do recommend it, just due to the fact that there's some lags in the current rideshare policy. To me, that's just a tad bit funny, because now, when you turn on your app for the day and you're sitting there and you're waiting for a trip, and this happens multiple times per day, you're at kind of the worst spot to be as a driver, due to the fact of, on your personal policy, if an accident happens right then and there, that's where you're going to have to put it. Now, it's going to be up to you on whether you keep it fully honest and you say, hey, I was sitting here on the side of the road with my Uber app on, and a car came and smacked me, as opposed to you saying, hey, I was just sitting here on the side of the road. You leave the rideshare part completely out of it, and you say, hey, I was smacked on the side of the road. It's a very important component due to the fact of your personal policy. In all actuality, and a lot of people don't realize this, is anytime you say anything about rideshare, they're like, hey, you need to talk to their insurance company. And to be honest, you don't even want to be putting accidents, for the most part, on your personal policy. That's going to do nothing but make your insurance policy go up during these times. So you don't really want to do that anyway. And I'm a firm believer that unless you're putting a major accident on the books, if it's just a little nick to the bumper, you got to replace the bumper, you got to spend a couple $100, just go ahead and do it. It's not worth it to put it through the insurance, depending on what your deductible is. Now, when it comes to personal policies, for the most part, people typically have $500 deductibles, $750 deductibles. So I don't know. It's kind of odd to me that when it comes down to the insurance that these rideshare companies are offering, a $2,500 deductible is kind of setting the bar high with a lot of money because, like I said, I'll say it again, unless you're totaling your car out, it's actually not worth it for you to even bother with it. A passenger can take your door off. You can get the job done typically cheaper than that actual deductible. Trust me, I know. Now, that kind of covers what I mentioned previously in that lag mode. Now, anytime you're at a point where you physically have the customer in your car, you swipe. And this is an important thing to point out. Do not let customers get into your vehicle without swiping. Because I know a lot of times you'll have someone jump in, hey, so-and-so is coming. And the reason why I say this is because the rideshare insurance does not kick in for the most part until you swipe to start the trip. Anything happens now, you're fully in the ballpark. If something happens where that customer is not in the vehicle yet, even though you had the Lyft app on, they're still going to want you to put that on your personal policy. And this is kind of where the gap insurance comes into play, because that's the gap right there that you're looking to cover, because that's a real tricky part to be in, where your personal policy doesn't want to hear it, and then now the rideshare company's policy doesn't want to hear it. Overall, and I've said this before in previous videos, I am not a fan of rideshare insurance, period. I feel like when it comes to the rideshare industry, I feel like all of us drivers need to have the responsibility of having their own commercial policy. For all my TLC drivers out there in New York City, you know you've already had a commercial policy. You already know how it feels. So to be in a situation where you have these rideshare insurance companies like Allstate or whoever they're using right now, when you're in a predicament where they're taking so much money out of what the rider actually pays, and considering the fact that they also have a $2,500 deductible, that's never really going to serve you too much. But like I said previously, it really benefits where the passenger needs to be covered and to cover the rideshare companies, but overall it doesn't help us. So what I would like to see happen, and what I think would be the most beneficial, is now all of us, no matter what state we're in, if you're driving part-time, if you're driving full-time, go out there and get your own commercial policy to cover this vehicle that you're using for rideshare. Now, some people might be saying, hey, you know what, for me to get a commercial policy, it might cost a couple $100s more. By driving on the Lyft platform, because I know all of the different Uber drivers out there, you really can't find this now, but the reality of it is that, trust me, with the numbers that we're seeing on the Lyft platform, if we could get the majority of that money back into our pocket, in all actuality, paying an extra couple $100s for a commercial policy, and within that commercial policy, we assume, you know, all liabilities for the passenger and everything like that. Uber and Lyft wouldn't really have to, they would be held harmless in the situation once that customer is passed off to us underneath that commercial policy. But that kind of sums up what the real on it is, the information that you guys need to know. Now get down in the comments and let me know what you guys think in concerns to all Uber and Lyft drivers in the rideshare industry holding their own commercial insurance. That's going to be definitely an interesting topic, you know, to speak on. Let me know down in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you guys have found value from it, and get subscribed to the channel. Money Making Joey, I'm out of here, and I will see you guys in the next one.